Okay, so here's our plate from Galloway Precision. Now, I cannot show any of the installation process because YouTube hates that, but I will walk you through it. So basically what you're going to do is put your old slide, or not your old slide, your only slide in a vise, and you're going to use a brass punch and drift out your rear factory sight. I use a little penetrating oil, work fine. I'll give you a pro tip. If you're going to purchase a sight pusher tool, do not get one of the crappy universal ones. They are absolutely useless. Either spend 50 bucks or spend nothing, because the cheap ones are not worth one dime. But the good ones, they work much better. In any case, I put some penetrating oil in the rear slot of the LCP Max slide here, and it came right out. Very little effort with a brass punch and a hammer. So this is what will be going in. Now this one slides right in, very loose, very easy, no friction at all, and you're going to hold it in place with this center screw. Now if it were me, for a permanent installation, I would take this to the gunsmith, have him bore sight it, and then drill a small dimple in the slide, perfectly located, so that when you set this screw here, right in the middle, so that when you set that, it locks into the slide. That's, for a permanent installation, that's what I recommend. Go to a gunsmith. However, if it's a semi-permanent installation, if you want to be able to take it in and out, whatever, you could just use this screw to put a friction fit into the slide with purple Loctite. I would not use blue because that's going to require a lot of torque to get it out, or heat. And if you torque these little screws, they tend to strip even on good parts. So purple Loctite is all I would use. As long as you put a reasonable amount of torque, and we're talking inch pounds, not foot pounds. Oh, there we go. Here's our combat kittens. Always want to be in the video. But again, as long as you use a reasonable amount of torque and purple Loctite, this should stay put just fine. Okay, and here's the next step. We're not going to work on this or anything, but you can see that it's slid right into the dovetail slot. Excuse me. You're just going to torque down this Allen bolt right here to a reasonable amount of inch pounds. I do not have the instruction manual in front of me, but I would recommend checking the website or the instruction manual that came in a package so you don't over torque it. Okay, now here we are. We've got the red dot installed. Now we just eyeballed this to be approximately centered, and it looks approximately centered. Remember, our red dot has adjustment built into it, so it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect unless you're going to drill a hole. We are using friction on this one only, and we have this installed, and we can see our dot fine. There she goes. And I'll be doing an entirely separate review on this. CVLife sent this out to the channel. But this is neat in that it actually has fiber optic tubes for the rear sight for a co-witness. Now, anytime you're using a dovetail mount, let me get this out of here and I'll show you. Okay, so anytime you're using a dovetail mount, you're going to have a much higher installation, and it's not going to co-witness with your front sight unless you use extra tall suppressor height front sight, which I do not have, and I don't know that anyone even makes it for the Ruger LCP Max. If you're going to use this type of setup without a high front suppressor sight, which honestly I don't recommend on a carry gun anyway, because they are extremely snag prone. I've been carrying firearms for 35 years, most of it professionally, and I do not recommend suppressor height sights on carry guns because they will snag on your belt, on your holster, on your jacket, in your pocket, on your seat belt, and that is a big problem when you're trying to draw and present your gun in a life and death situation. So, if you're going to carry this type of optic on a dovetail mount on a carry gun, you have to do lots and lots of practice, thousands of presentations. It is possible. You have to put the time in. But something like this, you know, a dovetail mount is obviously absolutely fine for range use, for hobby use, for fun plinking. Okay, I just want people to understand, for a concealed carry mount, you have to put in the time. Do not buy something like this and put it in your drawer and think that in the dark, under pressure, after you just got punched in the mouth by a home invader, that you're going to be able to just find that dot. It takes practice, okay? I cannot stress that enough, all right? But this is a good, very solid, very high-quality mount. It is on there. It is not going anywhere. So we're going to put the gun back together, and we're going to take a look at this guy. So here we are. We have it installed on the pistol, and the pistol reassembled, 12-round mag in it. No, it is not chambered. We don't have a hot gun here. I don't know if we'll be able to get it on the camera with me just moving this thing around, but the dot is in the window, and it is very visible. Now, see, with this sort of setup, when it's this high like this off your bore sight, okay, it changes the alignment of your head to the gun from what you're used to from all your years of training with iron sights. All right, so what you would normally want to do is you want to get your sights, your iron sights, your 3 dots, reasonably close, and that'll make the dot come into the window. Now, if you don't have a front sight, you obviously cannot use that technique. Now, right now, again, I am looking at the dot through the window. So if you're going to use this setup for anything other than range use, I highly recommend using a Hollow Sun 507K, which uses the RMSC footprint with the ACSS Vulcan reticle. What that does is that has a huge circle that goes around the dot, so that no matter how you present your handgun, even if you can't see the dot, what the ACSS reticle allows you to do is no matter how you present the handgun, even if your alignment is off, you'll see some part of that giant 100 MOA outer circle. And then it's a simple maneuver to just flip it so that the circle and the dot are centered. For a dovetail sight, not just theirs, not just Galloway's, anybody's, I highly recommend the ACSS Vulcan. This is a very quality mount. It's really nicely machined aluminum. It fit very easily. I didn't have to pound it, beat it, file it, nothing like that. It looks nice. It's got a really nice anodized finish on it. The RMSC footprint red dot lined up no problem, perfectly fit right on there. So all the machining on this is really good to go. There's no problems with the fit or finish. Everything worked out great. I'm sorry I couldn't show more, but YouTube doesn't allow that. And you get a chance to see how this looks on here. I'm going to say it does not throw the balance off terribly. It feels like it adds about 3 ounces of weight to the gun. So normally loaded with 13 rounds, this gun weighs 15 ounces. So you're going to be up around the 18 to 19 ounce mark now, which is still about the same weight as a SIG P365 with the magazine installed. What do you think, Kitty? Is this your style? Do you like this? Yep, Kitty approves. Combat Kitty approved. Okay, YouTube, we are back here again with the Galloway Precision red dot plate for the Ruger LCP Max. Okay, so we're going to try some holster fitment. Now, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, from a factory holster, you're going to have to make a little modification. All right. So if we look right here on this Kydex holster, there's a bit too much material. Let me pause this and we'll demonstrate. Okay, so here we are. We got the pistol in the holster. Now you can see it can't quite go in all the way because of this extra material right here. But that is no problem, because with Kydex, you could just trim away whatever you need to get that extra room you need to finish sliding it in the holster. So this would be a very easily modifiable holster. Any Kydex holster is very easy to modify. Okay, and we got one more here to show. Okay, and this is a crossbreed pocket holster, which I've already modified the trigger guard area on. But you could see that we're going to hit here. So what we're going to do is trim down, and if I was going to do this, I would trim right below the rivet here, right across like that and up, and just make a scalloped area so that you can finish sliding the pistol all the way into the holster. You know, obviously, once you get with custom optics and all that stuff, you're going to have custom holsters. The beauty of Kydex is they are very easy to modify yourself with a Dremel for peanuts. So, you know, you can either buy a holster made specifically for a LCP Max with an optic, or you can just get a Kydex holster and do a little bit of modification. So either way is going to work and is totally acceptable. So I just wanted to throw this in here to let people know that they're going to have to do a little bit of holster work if they're going to run this plate in this setup. But it is entirely doable. And I will say again, the Galloway Precision plate, as is, would be fine for target practice, plinking, you know, things like that. If you're going to use this for self-defense or hunting, I highly recommend using, at the very least, a circle dot reticle, or ideally a Hollow Sun Primary Arms ACSS Vulcan. So no matter how you pick this up and align it, you're always going to see some part of the reticle. It makes it super quick, and there goes our dot, just danced by. But it makes it super quick and easy to get alignment. A normal circle dot is also better than just a plain dot, but the dot is not as big, so it's still possible to misalign. So as long as you're using a Hollow Sun Primary Arms Vulcan, I think this is actually an entirely viable setup for concealed carry, home defense, that sort of thing, with the caveat that I would get a gunsmith to dimple the slide where the friction bolt goes in. Okay, folks, I hope you found all this useful. Thanks again for watching. As always, Freedom by Me out.